Hi, good morning. It's time to cook again. So I'm going to make a family favorite. I started to say holiday favorite, but we make it just as often as we can. Anyway, it is called an eggnog cake. Now, don't leave. Even if you don't like eggnog, you're going to love this cake. I have my son-in-law's birthday is today. I'm making this for him because he requested it, and he's someone that doesn't even really like sweets, but he loves this eggnog cake. It's full of flavor. It's so easy to make, so I hope you can try this and hope you enjoy it. We're going to start with a cake mix, believe it or not, a yellow cake mix. Just your average box yellow cake mix. Goes into your mixing bowl. Pretty easy so far, right? Okay, next comes a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Note to self, don't overcook this. It'll explode in your microwave like mine did this morning. Okay, we have 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now you know I like to use a rasp and grate mine fresh, but if you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. We're going to put in a 1 whole teaspoon of rum extract. Okay, gives a lot of flavor without being overpowering. Okay. 2 eggs, and the last ingredient is eggnog, 1½ cups of eggnog. Put that into your pan. Now in the meantime, I've turned my oven on to 375 to preheat, and I've got 2 9-inch cake pans that I have greased, and what I like to do is put parchment on the bottom so that it's easier to get out. There's no struggle. You just outline the pan, cut it, stick it in the bottom, and you're good to go. So here we are with this. We're going to mix this up. You just combine this till it's mixed. So excuse me for a moment while we do this. Try not to splatter it on everything. Start out slow and then you can go a little faster. Now I know I had someone comment that they love my videos, but you know, they're hard to see. Well, it's just me and my computer. I'm doing the best I can. However, if anybody knows of any good if anybody knows of any good video equipment that's easy to use, let me know. I'm happy to upgrade. But in the meantime, here we are. Hopefully you'll enjoy the recipes and try them. Okay, I'm going to turn this up a little bit now. This is so easy, and also we're going to make a great filling to go in between the layers and a great icing to go on it, or frosting, whatever. It's just a wonderful, moist, full of flavor cake. You really are going to love this. I know most people go, well, I've never heard of that. Well, I hadn't either until I found the recipe, and now we make it as much as possible. Just scrape down the sides of your bowl. Here we go. I just realized my sweater matches my mixer. That is not a requirement for cooking, by the way. I usually have on an apron because I'm such a mess, but there's no flour involved here, just cake mix. Okay, I think we've got it. You want it smooth. You don't want to beat it to death, obviously, but you want it smooth. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Oh, it smells wonderful. I've never been a big fan of eggnog. I would have a glass of it at my brother's each Christmas because he was so proud of his eggnog. It was pretty good. He put ice cream in it, but this eggnog cake is just amazing, even if you don't drink eggnog. Okay, got to get all that goodness off the beater and into my cake pans, which I've already prepared. So just divide it evenly among the cake pans. You're going to put it in your 375-degree oven. Sorry, let me check. For 30 minutes, and then you let it sit in the pan for 10 minutes, and then you take it out of the pan. So here we go. I'm going to just go ahead and put this in. 375, 30 minutes, 10 minutes sitting, and then I'll be back. See you in a moment. Hi. Okay, now while that is baking, we're going to do the filling. This goes in between the layers, and this again is very easy. We're starting with packaged instant vanilla. So It calls for a 1/4 cup and a little bit more. So I'm going to just make a rounded cup here, 1/4 cup. There we go. Put that into a double boiler. Now if you don't have a double boiler, you can get a pot, put water in it, and put like a metal bowl on top or a glass bowl and use it that way. So you just don't want the water so high that it actually touches the bottom of the bowl. Okay, so I've got that in here. I'm going to add enough eggnog. This is 2 cups of eggnog. Enough eggnog to kind of mix the pudding, get it incorporated, and then we'll add the rest of it. A little bit more. Make sure it's kind of like making a pudding roux. Okay. All right, I'm going to slowly add the rest and whisk it at the same time. You want it very nice and smooth. I didn't realize it made so much noise. That's okay. Turn the fire down just a little bit. Okay. Slowly add the rest. Again, that was a little over a 1/4 cup of vanilla pudding and 2 cups of eggnog. Okay, we are going to cook this until it is thickened and smooth, and then we'll add some rum extract to that. Now don't panic if you don't do alcohol. This is just flavoring it. It's not alcohol. And always when you're cooking, alcohol burns off and you're just left with the flavor anyway. Okay, since this is not the magic of television, I will get back to you in a little while so you don't have to watch me stand here and stir, and I'll tell you about how long it took until it thickened. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, this has gone for about 10 minutes. I added a little bit more of the vanilla pudding, and it's thickened up. It's not thick, but it's quite thicker than it was. Now it's time to add the 1 teaspoon of rum extract. There we go. Stir that in, and you're done. Now you're going to let this cool a little bit, and then I put it in the fridge covered. Let it chill. You want it chilled before you put it between the cake layers. And then you're good to go. So, my cakes are baking. This is done. As soon as those come out, then we'll make the frosting and we'll be ready to go. Hi. Now we're ready to make the icing. So here's what we're going to do. I have 2 cups of cold, heavy cream in here, heavy whipping cream. And to that, I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Okay, there seems to be salt in baking. 1 1/4 cups of sugar. And 1 teaspoon of rum extract. Okay, time for a new bottle. Almost there? Okay. Alright, now I'm going to mix this till it becomes frothy, and then I'll be back. Otherwise, you're going to have to sit here and listen to this noise the whole time. I'll be right back. Okay, I now have soft peaks. You can see how beautiful that is. Now, in the meantime, I took 1 package of unflavored gelatin, dissolved it in 2 tablespoons of cold water, let it set in some warm water, my little measuring cup, till it becomes nice and liquid. And now it is time to pour that into our lovely whipped cream frosting. I'm going to put this on low. Okay, I'm going to make sure I get all of that out. I'm just going to whip that until stiff peaks form. It doesn't take long. I think we're probably there. Okay, here we go. Let's taste. Oh boy, that's good. That's good. Okay, now let's assemble. Get this out of here. Careful tapping a glass bowl, they will break. Okay. So good. Get my work place set up here. Okay, now, hopefully you can see that. I love icing, I love filling, I love all of that stuff. To a fault, probably like it better than the cake, except for this cake, it's delicious. So what I'm going to do is take each one of these. You don't have to do this. You can put the filling right in the middle between the two layers. But I like extra. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my cake, which is cooled. Now you can just take a knife and cut these in half. I happen to have this little gadget because you know I love gadgets. So I'm going to use that to cut the cake layers in half. Just kind of saw back and forth. It does a straighter job than I can do, I promise you. Okay. Again, this is not something you have to have. This is a little rotating cake plate. It just makes it easier to ice the cake. I'm going to put a little bit frosting there to kind of keep the cardboard in place. Okay, on goes layer number one. Let me get the filling out. Okay, the filling's been chilling in the fridge. If you remember, we made that earlier. I'm just going to use my spatula for this. Okay. So we're going to end up with 3 fillings, basically, instead of 2, which is always better. Okay, so I'm just going to spread that around. I need a little bit more, about a third, obviously. Okay. You don't have to take it all the way to the edge because when you put the next layer on, it'll squish out a bit. It's a technical term, squish. I'm going to turn it over so I'm dealing with the smoother side. Okay, here goes another third. This is so good. I mean, I guess you could eat the filling just as a pudding, but you don't want to miss this cake. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for this cake layer. My handy dandy cutter. That goes on next. Try and get your layers as even as possible. And this is the last bit of the filling. Spread it around. None of this is difficult, is it? No. Especially when you can use a cake mix to start off with. You just make it that much better. Okay, I'll save that for licking later. The last layer goes on. There we go. Now it's time to ice. I'm going to use this to get it out with. Excuse me, I did not get all my tools ready. Hold on. Ta-da, I got it. Okay. Now we literally just ice it with this beautiful whipped cream. Frosting, whatever. Okay, so I said I was going to use a spoon. I didn't do it. You can do this however you like. Most people say load up the top and then just push it over the edge. Whatever you want to do. I mean, this is, you know what, we're not being graded on this. We're just going to have a great birthday party, a great dessert. And it is what it is. Of course, make it look as nice as you can. Hopefully you can see all of this. And just kind of push it over the edge, smooth it out. I guess I should do this so you can see it, right? And you just keep adding. Of course, I feel no frosting should be left behind, so I'm going to use every drop of this. Okay. Get a little bit more. This is so easy to do. I hope you try this. It is truly delicious. You take this to a party or something and you're going to be the hit of the party. Everybody will be amazed. Now you do have to keep this in the refrigerator until you're ready for it. Obviously, it's got a whipped cream icing. Like I said, I'm a messy cook, but I will clean up when I'm done. Alright, we're getting all this out of here. A little more of the edge. Of course, by doing this on a cardboard, then you can lift it up and put it onto your cake plate, and the cake plate's not so messy. And you can ice this perfectly smooth if you like. I kind of prefer them to look a little more homemade, so I'm not going to make this perfectly smooth. I think it adds to the taste to look like it's homemade as well as taste like it's homemade. And it is homemade. So I was watching TV the other day, and this famous Broadway star was on, and she goes, you know, I got a box cake, and I got a can of icing, and I made this cake, and someone asked me if it was homemade, and she said, well, it was homemade as far as I was concerned. So this starts with a box, but you sure do a lot more with it. There you go. I think that looks pretty darn good. Anything left in the bowl I'm going to have as soon as I turn off the camera. Okay, you can make a little design in the top. Now you can leave this perfectly white, or one other thing you could do, you know, I like to use fresh nutmeg. Just put a touch of nutmeg on the top, just for color. So just grate it right over, just like that. It doesn't change the flavor any, it just adds a little bit of difference to it. And that's it. We are done. Now, you'll have to trust me. I'll try and take a picture and post it. But since it's a birthday cake, I can't cut into it yet. It's delicious. You're going to love it. I hope you try it. Please let me know what you think. Thanks for joining me.